podcast. We did that impromptu podcast with Brother Darren, Brother Kansu over at Blur Media, Blur Planet. They were giving their perspective and saying that it's just funny how the media is driving things in a negative way. So, yeah, man.
Definitely, man. But you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother God and SamAnt. Going in today on this Thursday. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We're going to be going live on Hip Hop News Uncensored for our every week show that we pop off our live show in front of the people, man. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, I need y'all to do me two favors. As always, hit that like button and make sure that you share this video. All right, man. Once again, this molestation stuff, man. Michael Jackson has been dragged once again, you know, and this is to the statement that people say, let these people rest in peace. Well, these people are not letting Michael Jackson rest in peace. It appears that a new documentary promising unflinching examination of Michael Jackson's child sex abuse allegations will premiere at Sundance this year. Now, the film is titled Leaving Neverland, and it's pretty much going to be talking about, and I quote, they say, at the height of his stardom, Michael Jackson began long-standing relationships with two boys, one age 7 and one age 10. And they're saying that these two fellas are now in their 30s, and they're coming out to tell their story, but they have not been identified yet. I guess at that time, maybe they will come out. But so yeah, SamAnt, what do you think? This is breaking news right now, man. Sundance is going to premiere a film about Michael Jackson. They're saying that he had a relationship now with a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, a sexual relationship. Your initial thoughts?
Disgusting. Ridiculous.
What part?
These are pieces of shit for doing this. This is another failed attempt to try to destroy a man's legacy, a man's name. Now, let's be clear. This situation, the R. Kelly situation, is completely different. Definitely. Michael Jackson has been he's been hit with this stigma of being a pedophile since we were alive. You know what I mean? So we've heard this throughout, but he's maintained his innocence. And kind of like I was alluding to in the other segment, we only had source, we only had vibe, we only had sources, certain sources of media to give us our information. So we weren't able to look at a YouTube or be able to research what Michael Jackson was talking about in regards to the evilness in Sony or the pro-black issues he was discussing out here that no one ever knew about. All we knew is that he loved chilling with Macaulay Culkin. He had fucking monkeys and roller coasters. So we automatically assumed that he was stuck in this mindset of being children or being with children. So it was easily manipulated. And then you ask the question, why? Well, when you own the Beatles catalog and you own your own masters and you own things that they want, now you start raising an eyebrow why they want to slander your name. It makes perfect sense. You look at when he bought the Beatles catalog, I think that was around 1984, 1985. You look at when the allegations started, late 80s, early 90s, your things start really making sense if people start just looking at it in a common sense way. These kids or these grown men coming out now should be ashamed of themselves. There's no way that we could prove this. He's a man that's no longer with us. This is slander on his name. They should try to shut this down, and the people should boo in that Sundance festival.
Well, you know, what we do have, as a matter of fact, that back in 2003, Michael Jackson, he was tried, but he was acquitted on all 14 counts, you know, that they were trying to bring him up on, you know, with those children. But he did pay $20 million in settlements out, which is crazy if he was acquitted. But that's a whole nother story. But Michael Jackson's estate, they left a statement about the film coming out to discredit Michael Jackson. They go on to say this is yet another lurid production and an outrageous and pathetic attempt to exploit and cash in on Michael Jackson. They said Wade Rosen and James Safechuck, who was Jackson's companion as a child and sued Jackson's estate over sexual abuse claims, have both testified under oath that Jackson had never did anything inappropriate toward them, Safechuck and Rosen. Now, and he also goes on to say the so-called documentary is just another rehash of dated and discredited allegations. It's baffling why any credible filmmaker would involve himself with this project. Once again, we know Michael Jackson was tried, but he was acquitted back in 2005 of all 14 counts that they tried to bring him up against. My thoughts about this film is exactly what they're saying, and I don't know how people are allowed to do this And because on YouTube, when you put something up and you don't have permission, they can take it down. But it seems like outside of that, they can, like R. Kelly thing, they take his image, they take his likeness, and they make all this money off of it, and they slander a name. So I don't know, if his estate is going to sue. I would hope if they can stop it. I doubt it, but this is crazy right here because again, the stigma now attached to a lot of these guys now, is like sexual predators and no evidence. There's no evidence. And he won.
Zero.
Court.
Zero.
It's crazy.
Yo, let's talk about copyright for a second because there's copyrights and there's laws in place to protect people's identity from slander and various uses of their images or faces or names and things like that to be able to steer narrative. There's laws in place for things like that. Yet you often see this gray area where people are allowed to do it and then be able to paint their narrative and then, okay, it's allowed to be taken back. Like how are these things allowed to even hit the floor? Like controversial topics like this and things like that. Shouldn't it be like, I don't want to say like an arbitration process or something in place to where we make sure that these things that you're coming out with are authentic? Or can we generalize the genre different? Because you're putting this out in documentary, and when I hear documentary, I automatically think truth of some kind of historical piece. And there's a lot of truth being or lies being spread around here. No, I'm not saying I'm saying that R. Kelly is not a pedophile or anything like that. Don't put that in my mouth by any stretch. But that there's a lot of people out here doing these for financial gain. And how are they able to do this within the confines of the law? It just really boggles my mind.
First, let me say this. Let's just clarify. I like the expression of media. People should be able to express themselves and do it within the confines of fair use. Whether it be something happened, you want to use somebody's image, to tell a story. That's one thing. But somebody to just be able to cash in on a film, and paint you as a molester or something like that after you've been in court and been acquitted of that. That should be against the law, and you should be able to sue for defamation, and slander. You definitely should be able to have a case for that, especially if it's unfounded. So, hopefully they will pursue this and get every dime back that Sundance tries to make off of this film.
That's a fact, man. I definitely agree with that.
We're not insensitive to any alleged victims, if indeed they were victims. But right now we have to go with the court. And he's been acquitted of those crimes, so I can't call him a molester at this point. I just can't.
I hear you on that. Agreed.
Yes, sir. But you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, God and SamAnt, going in today, on this Thursday evening. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m., we're going to make sure y'all tune into Hip Hop News Uncensored. We're going in live, and we got a special interview we're going to be uploading, tomorrow. But yeah, man, that's all I got on my side of the ticket. SamAnt, you got anything over there?
I do. We got to talk about this, guy, because like I said, all week we've been talking about R. Kelly and nauseum, and throughout the comment section, throughout all various comment sections, no matter what platform it's on. We respect everybody who gives their opinion, and we've been hearing this a lot. Why we're not talking about Weinstein? Why we're not talking about the Catholic Church? Why we're not talking about these other white celebrity people out here in the public light doing horrendous things? I had my question on the Uncensored Truth podcast yesterday. If you didn't hear that, go over there to Uncensored Truth right now. You can see that interview in its entirety and hear my question and hear that perspective. But that being said, a federal judge today in California has dismissed Ashley Judge's claim of sexual harassment in her lawsuit against disgraced former mega producer, who else? Harvey Weinstein. But the judge has also said Judge can pursue her accusation that Weinstein tried to ruin her career after she rejected his advances. Let me give a little bit of the 1-2. This is courtesy of, let me see where I'm getting this from, NPR.org. Here we go. Weinstein is facing charges of 5 counts of rape and sexual assault.
It's only